G'day guys and gal, it's no secret that Warhammer 40k is a male-dominated hobby, just look at my analytics. While I do understand why this is the case, I actually think a lot more women would really enjoy at least the lore side of things if they were properly exposed to it. That is because although 40k is full of roided up super soldiers ripping out the throats of space bugs of death, there are still hundreds of beautifully written, believable female characters. What makes them even more impressive than the Space Marines or other alien warriors around them is that they are able to stick up for themselves and hold their own despite their innate physical disadvantages. In many cases, it's their very femininity that they leverage to achieve their goals, and I think that's pretty awesome. Before we get started, sure, the genetics you have, the cards you were dealt in life, plays a big role in how you look. But even the worst hand can win if you play it right. That's why I'm a huge advocate for skincare and have once again partnered up with Joology for this video. Your pimply, oily, blotchy, discolored or dry skin is partly genetics, but it is mostly from a lack of care. Pretty much all of these issues can be reduced if not completely cured by a skincare routine. The issue for us blokes is that we don't know what to use or when to use it. That's where Joology comes in, by getting you to fill out a quick online survey to determine a custom skincare regime for you. Then it's delivered to your door with easy to follow instructions. I never get blackheads, very rarely get any pimples on my face, and I no longer have oily skin, all because I've been using Joology for the past few years. You want to know why some people turn 30 or 40 and stay golden while others go down the trash chute and end up looking terrible? A big factor is if they are using skincare. The best news is, as this is Joology's 5th anniversary, they are offering a massive 70% off your first skincare package, as well as 30% off any other product of your choice. That could be a body wash, deodorant, or shampoo when you use my link and code Majorkill70 below. Cheers to Joology for sponsoring this video. Today we'll go over 5 of the best female characters in 40k lore. I won't be judging by power or how many heads they could crush between their thighs, more so the character itself and the quality of their lore. Hopefully by the end of this you'll realize that no, we don't need female Space Marines when we have such fantastic women in the setting already. Now let's get into it. The Inquisition series holds a special place in the hearts of many 40k fans. It was my first 40k book series and really explored every avenue of Warhammer 40k that it physically could. An absolute standout in that series is a blank woman called Elizabeth Beckwen. Found during one of Eisenhorn's missions, she followed the legendary Inquisitor into the depths of metaphorical hell. She did this despite not being an Inquisitor, not having crazy skills or years of training. She still followed him wherever he went, risking her life every day for mankind. We also got a really deep and intricate relationship between Eisenhorn and Beckwen. He was a psyker, she was a blank. He felt physically and spiritually sick standing next to her, and even the smallest touch disgusted him. But despite that, he loved her with all of his heart. They loved who the other person was, even if they could never act on it. Beckwen has saved Eisenhorn's life on more than one occasion, with the biggest balls a woman could possibly have. Her joining the Inquisitor's life wasn't this nice, warm, gradual entry. It was thrust into the heart of one of the most dangerous inquisitorial missions of Eisenhorn's life. Even when offered a way out time and time again, she refused. She was loyal, steadfast and unwavering. Not only a fantastic female character, but just a fantastic character full stop. However, it would be her devotion and bravery that would be her downfall. When Eisenhorn and friends found themselves at the wrong end of a Titan cannon, Beckwen performed a complicated ritual to try use her blank power on the Titan to save her friends. She did this knowing the odds were slim, and tragically, the attempt failed, with the blowback effectively killing her. Like, sure, she was still alive, but ended up in a permanent coma, with the ship she was on then being lost in the warp. Doesn't really get much more gone than that. Her loss shattered Eisenhorn. Without her to be there for him, he embraced the radical, heretical life of a man with nothing to lose, consorting with demons, dark sorcery, and all kinds of other shit to fulfill his missions. Amazingly, he still remains totally uncorrupted. Beckwen would live on in her own way, her DNA being used to create blank clones, one of which is working with Eisenhorn to take on Constantine Valdor himself. Yeah, that's right, the Inquisition series is fucking wild. No list of bad bitches would be complete without the woman who cock-stomps Space Marines on the daily, Shadowsun, the hero of the Tau Empire. Tau generally aren't very good at melee combat. That's no secret, with them often getting curb stomped whenever the range to the enemy drops below a few kilometers. But Shadowsun fucking thrives in melee, jetpacking right on top of enemies enemy commanders and turbo blasting the shit out of them, before they even know what is going on. Even in fair duels with Space Marine heroes, she is a beast. She was the target of Kurosaro Khan, one of the greatest White Scar warriors to ever live. This is the kind of man who makes other Space Marine look like guardsmen. But each encounter he had with Shadow Sun was a difficult blow-for-blow affair. Yes, he had the advantage, and yes, he would win the duels, with her being forced to flee, but the fact that a fucking Tau can give a White Scar Blade Master a run for their money is insane. It isn't just her combat prowess that makes Shadow Sun stand out. She has a very deep and complicated attitude and loyalty to the Tau Empire. She lives for battle, but does not relish it. She spoke with the White Scar just as much as she fought him, with her even saying that she thinks in another life, they could have been friends. He agreed. She also shares a close relationship with Commander Farsight, even with the former hero of the Tau Empire being declared a traitor. She is the Tau Empire's champion, and she knows she is a pawn to the Ethereals. Thus, while she obeys their commands, she doesn't always do it to the letter. For example, she still communicates and somewhat helps Farsight when she can. She's aware that the Tau Empire has its flaws, but understands that compared to Chaos, the Orcs, the Tyranids, or even the Imperium, it's a utopia that must be protected. Girl even went face to face with a Calidus assassin and survived to see another day. That's a huge slay. The Tau don't get to have the biggest bad bitch in the setting though. That arguably goes to Saint Celestine. The existence of living saints within 40k definitely hurts the Emperor's whole "I'm not a god" shtick. After all, immortal winged angels that dominate the battlefield definitely look like they came from a god. Saint Celestine is chief amongst the living saints. She might not be as complicated or deep as other female characters, but sometimes a badass flying around chopping up heretics like Sashimi is all you need from a character. Her origins aren't super clear, but it seems as if she may have been a latent psyker who fell in battle. However, she clung on to a small bit of life, which combined with her faith in the Emperor, manifested as her returning as a living saint, a demigod on the battlefield. However, being an immortal angel has its downsides. Every time Saint Celestine dies in battle, and trust me, she's died a few times, she has to basically walk through hell, climb mountains made of her own corpses, and slowly reclaim each piece of her soul and memory to eventually be able to remake herself and return to real space. During this pilgrimage, she is constantly tempted by chaos and tormented. Overall, a pretty shit time. Yet each and every time she overcomes the darkness and returns to life, poning heretics all over again. Her greatest moment was when she took on Abaddon, the War Master of Chaos. She was weakened due to the warp being strangled at the time with the fact that she was partially a warp creature, and Abaddon overcame her. But then some gal pal shit went down as Inquisitor Greyfax appeared and the two women fought Abaddon, overcoming the War Master of Chaos himself. It ended with Celestine stabbing her sword through Abaddon, whispering, "The Emperor protects," as she did so. Damn, dude. Abaddon retreated, beaten not by Space Marines or Custodes or Gilliman, but by two bad bitches who were here to kill demons and crush balls, and they were all out of demons. Unfortunately, Abaddon would then go on to throw a Blackstone fortress at Cadia, blowing it up, but that is neither here nor there. I'm always confused by people wanting female Space Marines when you literally have Celestine, who stomps Space Marines, as well as the Sisters of Battle, who are arguably more brave than Astartes as they face the horrors of 40k without the augmentations or psycho-indoctrination of the Space Marines. Yet they are just as steadfast and significantly more loyal, all the while actually maintaining their womanhood. Space Marines look manly, but their dicks literally don't work. The peak of a man isn't a virgin with erectile dysfunction. The Elder were always going to have someone on this list. The greatest of the Elder females is easily Janzar. While pretty much all other Phoenix Swords have been fucking around, vanishing for thousands of years at a time, Janzar is always there, always doing hectic shit and always furthering the Elder's cause. Whether it be turning an entire Night Lord's warband into her bitch, fighting in the arenas of Komara, killing Drazar, the greatest Dark Elder warrior to ever live, helping out the Yanari, helping to save Craftworld Baal Tan from a joint Slanesh and Khornite invasion, or taking on the Thousand Suns led by Ahriman. She's been a busy little bee. She can literally scream so loudly that if you're standing too close, your brain will liquefy. Janzar is the definition of someone that understands the job description. She is built for battle and dealing death, so that is what she does, all the fucking time. Even her origins are hectic. Being within the Elder Empire when Slanesh was born, it was her that convinced Asuman not to kill himself, thus she is in part greatly responsible for the survival of the Craft Worlds. As without Asuman, there would be no Phoenix Lords, hence no Aspect Warriors, hence the Elder would be fucked. Janzar is so fast that when she runs, it sounds more like rain than footsteps. She can throw her spinny blade thing so fast that even a Space Marine in combat stance can't react fast enough to stop it. She also doesn't take shit from anyone. When she was preparing to enter the arenas of Komara, a Dark Elder Gladiator champion was talking shit, calling her a Craftword bitch. As soon as those words left his mouth, his head left his body as she threw her spinny death thing at his neck. Dude didn't even have time to flinch. She then told herself off for being impulsive as she picked up his head and threw it into the arena before her entrance to help rile up the crowd. While she might just sound sound like a bit of an automaton built for war, she does have her moments. She is very duty focused but also can't help but enjoy herself at times. For example, her fighting in the arenas of Comra was in order to help fulfill a mission that would save the craft worlds. But she still felt a thrill of excitement before entering, the roar of the crowd and the majesty of it all. All in all, a fantastic legend of the Elder who actually gets shit done, unlike most of her male Phoenix Lord counterparts. And finally, you knew it was fucking coming, Latara Sarin. We've spoken about Latara a fair bit on this channel and I'll fucking do it again. Latara was awesome because she was realistic. She wasn't this paragon of war like Saint Celestine or Janzar, nor did she have the blank gifts of Beckwen or the skill of Shadow Sun. What she was though was someone that didn't take shit and didn't neglect her duty. She also has a pretty tragic tale, showing that even the most strong-willed will eventually be taken by chaos if they follow that path. Latara was captain of the Conqueror and was responsible for most of the World Eater Legion's discipline, since Angron was never going to enforce any. She was a brilliant captain, understanding void warfare like few ever could. She was the reason why Guilliman was unable to kill Lorga or Angron on the surface of Nysiria. Her blockade and unbreakable focus, even as her ship was being torn a new asshole, kept thousands of Ultramarines from deploying, thus allowing Lorga and Angron's legions to maintain the advantage on the surface. She also stopped any Ultramarine ship from bombarding the surface as well. Beyond her void warfare skills, her personality was fantastic. During a war against the Ultramarines, her ship was boarded. An elite World Eater force was assigned to protect her and her ship, however they neglected their duty and went to the surface of the planet instead to take part in the main battle. This resulted in her nearly dying, with thousands of crew being slaughtered as she awakened the Legion's dreadnoughts to protect her ship, with most of the dreadnoughts being destroyed as well. To punish this dereliction of duty, when the neglected World Eater returned, without hesitation she shot him in the head with a lasgun. He had his helmet on so it didn't do much, but a mortal woman shooting a World Eater champion in the face is a pretty fucking ballsy move. When he then opened fire on her, she didn't feel regret or fear, only shock and rage that he would dare fire upon her on her own ship. Fortunately, she was so popular within the Legion that a World Eater librarian blocked the shots, and then others squared up to the neglectful World Eater champion and told him to fuck off. She then banished the champion to go to his room and think about what he did. Angron liked her immensely as she was one of the only ones with the cojones to tell him how it was. Whenever he talked about the Conqueror being his ship, she would correct him and tell her it was hers. And how right she was, as eventually it absorbed her into it. I'm trying to find the words to describe just how tragic her fate was. Imagine you are Latara. You fought hard and well. You were distinguished and have made it to the Siege of Terra. However, any World Eater you are friends with is either dead or insane. But that's okay. You are captain of the Conqueror. You hallucinate one of these friends. He is alive but insane. The hallucination was how he was when he wasn't crazy. He tells you not to look up at the command throne of the Conqueror. You do anyway, seeing a half-demon woman wearing your uniform, merging with the ship. You are not Latara. You are a shard of her consciousness. You are not the captain of the Conqueror. No one remembers you. No one thinks about you anymore. You see your demon true form call out to Horus on the Vox and say, "War Master, this is Latara, captain of the Conqueror, awaiting orders." There is no reply. Horus doesn't give a fuck about you. You have a moment of lucidity as you realize this process has been repeated countless times. You realize the horror of the path you have chosen, then you are gone. Another fragment of consciousness evaporated. The process then repeats. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be, where we also have plenty of women in both Smexy cosplays as well as pinups for only $1. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more feminine content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.